Chosen one, you just survived a highly coordinated humiliation ritual, and it was your discernment that ultimately saved your life. Someone from your past made a deliberate attempt to orchestrate your complete social destruction. They had cameras set up, a location carefully chosen, and multiple people involved, every detail of your downfall meticulously planned. Your intuition was your shield. If you've been second-guessing yourself, wondering if you overreacted to a situation or to a particular person, I'm here to show you that your instincts didn't just protect you, they quite literally saved your life. Here's where it gets even more shocking. While you were following your gut feeling, there were people in the background orchestrating something so calculated and malicious that, once you see the full scope of their scheme, you'll realize how narrowly you escaped total devastation. But let's take a step back for a moment. To truly recognize these traps, if you ever encounter them again, it's important to understand exactly how they're set. First, let's talk about the person who recently approached you. Someone from your past suddenly made contact. Maybe it was an old friend sliding into your DMs after months of silence. Perhaps an ex-lover suddenly eager to reconnect, a coworker becoming unusually friendly, or even a distant family member insisting on a reunion. They made their approach seem casual and natural, throwing out lines like, "I was just thinking about you," or "I miss the old days," or "We should definitely hang out soon." But here's the first major revelation. None of this was a coincidence. That person didn't just wake up feeling nostalgic. They didn't suddenly recognize your value. The reality is far more sinister. A group of people has been watching you for much longer than you know. Before I reveal exactly who this group is and what they wanted, let's address something that will make you trust your instincts for the rest of your life. That subtle feeling you had around this person. That sense that something just wasn't right, wasn't social anxiety or oversensitivity. It was your intuition detecting predatory energy, because this person wasn't acting alone. What this group was plotting involved recording devices in a very specific location. Here's where things turn truly dark. The person who reached out was merely the recruiter. Behind them is an entire group, operating like a pack of wolves. And you, chosen one, had become their target. These aren't just the typical bullies or mean girls you remember from high school. What you're dealing with now is on an entirely different level. What you just faced wasn't some random act of cruelty. It was something highly organized and deeply psychological. This group operates with a mob mentality. Individually, none of them is particularly powerful, but together they feel untouchable. Their entire mindset is built around the idea that success means stepping on others, that elevating themselves requires pushing someone else down, and that their sense of power comes from humiliating others in public. They measure their own worth by how effectively they can destroy yours. But here's the truth about why you became their target. It wasn't by chance. You've been changing, haven't you? Growing into a more confident, discerning, and powerful version of yourself. And while some people are inspired by your growth, others see it as a direct threat that must be eliminated. This is where their strategy becomes downright chilling. They weren't just looking to embarrass you at a neighborhood hangout or during an ordinary dinner. No, they needed to get you somewhere specific, someplace outside your comfort zone, away from your support system and the safety of your usual environment. Maybe they invited you on a weekend trip, a group vacation, a family reunion, a hiking adventure, or to a party at a stranger's house. Whatever the setting, the location wasn't picked for your enjoyment. It was chosen for maximum control. In an unfamiliar place, you'd rely on them for transportation. You wouldn't know the exits, and you'd be far from anyone who could help if things went wrong. In such an environment, they could completely control the story of what happened. But here's the second major revelation. The location was also chosen because it was the perfect place for them to record you. What they planned to capture on camera involved getting you into a vulnerable state first. It's chilling to even think about it. I can practically hear the script they intended to follow, someone saying, "I don't feel well," and another whispering, "Just keep recording." This wasn't about making memories. This was about manufacturing evidence, something they could use to destroy your reputation, undermine your credibility, or simply humiliate you for their own amusement. To get that kind of footage, they first needed to break down your defenses, and their approach was absolutely ruthless. Once they had you isolated in their chosen setting, the real plot would have begun. Their intentions were coldly calculated. First, they'd try to make you vulnerable, maybe by getting you drunk, otherwise impairing you, or setting up scenarios where your guard was down and you might do or say something out of character. Then, they'd start triggering you emotionally, bringing up old wounds, arguments, or grudges. Anything they knew would hit you hard. They'd push your buttons relentlessly, hoping to provoke anger, tears, or frustration. All the while, they'd be filming. Not just any footage, but carefully edited clips designed to make you look unstable, irrational, or completely out of control, while conveniently leaving out all the ways they provoked you to that point. The ultimate goal? Total social destruction. They wanted video evidence they could circulate among your friends, post on social media, or use as blackmail. They aimed to make you a cautionary tale, a laughingstock, someone whose word could never be trusted again. And all of this was calculated down to the smallest detail, just waiting for the right moment to strike. Ready for the next revelation? Now here's the third revelation, the one that really shows you just how serious this threat actually was. They've been watching you, studying your every move, learning your routines, your triggers, and your vulnerabilities, not just for days or weeks, but in some cases for months or even years. They know your schedule, your favorite hangouts, who you spend time with, what makes you happy, and what sets you off. They've been collecting information about you as if you were a military target. Think back to those odd, coincidental encounters lately. Those people who seem to know just a little too much about your life. Or those moments when you felt eyes on you but convinced yourself it was just your imagination. You weren't being paranoid. You were actually being surveilled. But this is where your story takes a remarkable turn. Despite all their careful planning, surveillance, and teamwork, something happened that they never anticipated. This is what makes your journey so extraordinary, Chosen One. Despite everything stacked against you, the months of plotting, the network coordinating your downfall, you didn't fall for it. Something deep inside you started sounding the alarm. Your intuition ramped up. Your body, your gut, which really is like your second brain, began to send you danger signals you simply couldn't ignore. Maybe you noticed this person asking oddly personal questions but dodging your questions in return. A clear red flag. Maybe you sensed how they were pushing just a little too hard to get you to agree to their plan, on their terms, at their chosen location. Another warning sign. Perhaps their friendliness felt fake. Their energy seemed off, almost predatory. That uneasy feeling you had wasn't social anxiety. It was your spiritual discernment at work, and it genuinely saved your life. But there's another layer to this story, one that goes even deeper and that most people may never fully understand, a layer that reaches beyond just the physical. Now we're stepping into territory that some might find hard to believe, but it's important to acknowledge because it explains why their attack felt so intense, so calculated, and so dark. This wasn't just about petty jealousy or simple drama. For many of you, this was true spiritual warfare unfolding in real life. You weren't merely being targeted for humiliation. In a sense, you were being offered up as a sacrifice. These individuals have aligned themselves with energies that thrive on chaos, destruction, and the dimming of light. And you, Chosen One, stand as the very embodiment of everything they want to extinguish. They're not just fighting you. They're fighting what you represent: transformation, elevation, and the courage to break free from toxic cycles. In their desperation, they try to summon whatever they can to bring you down, because their own lives are in chaos and spiritual limbo. Unable to create, they seek to destroy. Unable to build, they tear down. Unable to lift themselves up, they try to drag others into their misery. But what they never expected is that you are a being of transformation and resurrection. They believed they could break you, but they were up against someone protected by a force much greater than themselves. That divine protection revealed itself in ways that completely dismantled their plans. Even if you did attend their event, and some of you did, you were protected in real time. The ritual they designed fell apart. The trap they so carefully set simply unraveled. Maybe the person tasked with filming backed out. Maybe the location fell through at the last minute. Maybe you became ill and couldn't go. Or perhaps your instincts were so strong that you left early. Sometimes the whole group dynamic shifted, making it impossible for them to execute their plan. That wasn't luck or coincidence. That was divine intervention. While your enemies thought they were playing a clever game of chess, they were actually going up against forces beyond their sight, understanding, or control. Now, here's where this story becomes truly satisfying. Because what they planned for you is about to happen to them. Remember how they intended to humiliate you in public, to expose your private moments for their entertainment, to destroy your reputation with manipulated footage. Prepare for cosmic justice. Everything they set in motion for you is returning right back to them. Their own secrets are about to become public. Their private shame will soon be common knowledge, and their reputations will unravel due to their own actions, words, and intentions being exposed. The universe always returns energy to its source, and all the malice they sent your way is boomeranging back with amplified force. I keep hearing the phrase failure to launch. Their spiritual attacks, manipulations, and elaborate schemes will fall apart spectacularly. Instead of destroying you, they will end up exposing themselves for exactly who they are. Here's something you may not realize about yourself. You weren't chosen at random. You were targeted because of your identity, your purpose, and the spiritual authority you carry. You possess a power that they can sense but never fully understand. A power to call in spiritual forces that work in your favor. Your victory is not just possible, it's inevitable. This whole situation is prophetic. It's already been written in stone. But here's the part that might challenge your perspective. Sometimes being chosen means you become spiritual bait. You're the strong one who protects the innocent, stepping into dangerous situations not because you're reckless, but because your very presence shields others from harm. You didn't just survive this humiliation ritual for your own sake. Your survival actually stopped this group from pulling the same stunt on someone else. Your experience became a wake-up call for the person who was so desperate to fit in that they were willing to sacrifice you just to prove their loyalty. You are the disruptor, the one they never expected. There's something about your energy that threatens their entire sense of identity. These people have built their self-worth on feeling superior to others, and your growth, your transformation into someone more confident, discerning, and spiritually aware, exposes just how empty their foundation really is. They needed witnesses to your destruction because your humiliation was meant to be their group's twisted bonding ritual. When people unite to bring someone down, they become complicit in each other's darkness, forming a shared guilt that binds them together. Your downfall wasn't just about entertainment for them, it was meant to be the glue that cemented their toxic alliance. What's even more disturbing is that some of these people probably didn't personally dislike you. They were simply swept up in the group dynamic, too afraid to stand up for you because doing so would put a target on their own back. This reveals something troubling about how they choose their victims. They go after those who represent the kind of person they could have become if they'd made better choices. You are living proof that real transformation is possible, that people can rise above circumstances, that spiritual growth is attainable. Your truth challenges the lies they tell themselves about why their lives haven't worked out. Your success story threatened their victim narrative, so they set out to destroy the evidence. You simply living your best life despite the odds. This group doesn't operate randomly. They have a specific hierarchy, which explains why their attack on you was so coordinated and complex. At the top are the puppet masters, those who never get their hands dirty but pull all the strings from behind the scenes. These individuals usually have some form of influence, resources, or connections that everyone else in the group craves. Next come the lieutenants, the ones who handle the planning and coordination. They're often the most psychologically damaged, gaining a sense of power by manipulating others to do their bidding. Then there are the foot soldiers, people like the one who was sent to lure you in, motivated by a desperate need to belong and willing to sacrifice others just to secure their place. Lastly, you have the audience. Those who don't actively participate but provide the validation and witness that makes the whole operation feel worthwhile. Here's the truly unsettling truth. Every level in this toxic hierarchy gets something different from your destruction, each one feeding off your downfall in their own way. The puppet masters at the top of this toxic hierarchy maintain their status by proving they can orchestrate complex and devastating social destruction. It's a game of power for them, built on manipulation and secrecy. These are the ones who never get their own hands dirty, preferring to pull strings behind the scenes while everyone else carries out their plans. The lieutenants, meanwhile, gain their sense of significance by successfully manipulating multiple people, often feeling an addictive rush from coordinating these dark plots. Their satisfaction comes from controlling outcomes and witnessing the ripple effects of their schemes. Then there are the foot soldiers, those who carry out the direct manipulation and contact. For them, the main motivation is acceptance and a desperate need to belong. They participate in these destructive actions to avoid becoming targets themselves, convinced that by playing along they secure some measure of protection and inclusion. And finally, you have the audience, people who might not participate actively, but who provide validation, attention, and the vicarious thrill of watching someone else's downfall, all while remaining comfortably uninvolved. Yet there's a crucial element this entire hierarchy failed to recognize. Your spiritual protection operates on a level they can't even comprehend. While they're playing their political games, plotting manipulation, and moving chess pieces across a social board, you are standing in a space of divine authority, one that earthly power and strategy cannot reach. They entered this battle armed with human weapons and intentions, never realizing they were stepping onto a spiritual battlefield where the rules are completely different. That is why, no matter how elaborate or meticulously planned their attack, it ultimately fell apart when it ran into your discernment and the shield of divine protection that surrounds you. Recognizing how these power structures work is essential, because it gives you the awareness to spot threats early and protect yourself from future attacks. It's very likely that what you just experienced is part of a larger pattern. There may have been previous attempts on your spirit, your reputation, or your energy, some that affected you and some that didn't. But now, with this understanding, you are exponentially more protected and prepared for whatever comes next. So, consider this your survival guide moving forward. Watch carefully for the bait. This can be anyone from your past who suddenly re-emerges with urgent invitations or a strange, intense desire to reconnect, especially if they were completely absent during your periods of recent growth. Pay close attention if you feel pressured to attend events in unfamiliar places, especially if you'd be dependent on others for transportation, housing, or basic needs. This is a classic tactic to destabilize you and gain control of the narrative. Trust the energy around you. If someone feels off, if their friendliness is a little too forced, or their enthusiasm feels performative or predatory, honor that feeling right away. Your intuition and discernment are your first line of defense and your most reliable early warning system. Also, question the asymmetry in your interactions. If someone is prying deeply into your personal life, but always manages to dodge your questions or keep their own details hidden, recognize this as classic predatory behavior. Don't dismiss those gut reactions. If a situation doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Your intuition has already been proven to be a powerful, even life-saving tool, and you should never feel the need to apologize for honoring it. Look out for the signs of a hierarchy when you're being recruited for group activities. Notice who is really in charge, who is trying to impress whom, and who is orchestrating events from the shadows. The puppet master is rarely visible, but their influence can always be traced if you pay attention to the group dynamics. Here's what your adversaries never saw coming. Their attack didn't break you. It made you stronger. Instead of shattering your self-esteem or isolating you, their efforts accelerated your spiritual growth and forced you to lean more deeply into your intuition and divine guidance. You entered their trap as one version of yourself, perhaps still questioning, still doubting, but you emerged as someone braver, wiser, and more awake to the realities of spiritual warfare and energetic manipulation. They wanted you to be weighed down with shame, but you found unshakable self-trust. They tried to isolate you, but you discovered the power of leaning on your spiritual guidance and the higher forces protecting you. What's more, this experience has set you up to recognize these toxic games in the future, not only for yourself but also for others. Your heightened awareness allows you to see through the masks and manipulation, to identify the hidden puppet masters and the roles people play in these destructive dynamics. Your story now becomes a shield and a lesson, empowering you to avoid these traps and perhaps even to help others who find themselves in similar situations. In the end, what your enemies meant for your destruction has only served to further your evolution and deepen your connection with your higher self. Your discernment is now honed, your intuition, your spiritual armor, and the greatest victory of all is that their carefully orchestrated plan failed, not just because of luck or chance, but because you operated under a level of protection and insight that no amount of manipulation or scheming could ever overcome. They wanted you to feel devalued, as if you were insignificant, hoping that you would question your worth. Instead, through their very attempts to tear you down, you recognized your true value, the kind of worth that draws the attention of those threatened by real light and genuine transformation. Their goal was to see you broken, to witness your spirit collapse under the weight of humiliation and betrayal, but you proved that you are truly unbreakable. You have overcome a trial that many people never even realize they are facing, a trial specifically designed to dismantle your sense of self and erode your inner strength. By surviving something so intentionally destructive, you've activated a profound level of spiritual protection and discernment, a kind of inner wisdom that will continue to serve and shield you for the rest of your life. But this victory is so much more than just a personal win. Your survival of this humiliation ritual is a cosmic shift, a ripple effect that reaches everyone within your energy field. When you refused to be broken, you didn't just protect yourself. You disrupted the very power structures that rely on the suffering of others. Your trust in your own discernment has activated a kind of spiritual shield that now extends to those around you, offering protection to others who might have been in line as their next victims. The individual who tried to use you as their ticket into that toxic group, hoping your sacrifice would earn them acceptance, is about to be confronted with the heavy cost of betraying someone divinely protected. And the group, who once believed they could simply add your light to their long list of extinguished souls, is about to realize that some lights are eternal and simply cannot be dimmed or destroyed. What you've accomplished is more than just a moment of survival. It's a message sent throughout the spiritual realm. Your victory broadcasts to every dark force, every hidden enemy, and every doubter that this chosen one is protected, this chosen one is awake, and this chosen one cannot be touched. The energy you radiate now echoes through the lives of all who ever underestimated your spiritual authority or plotted against you. They wanted to script your downfall, but in reality they have only orchestrated their own collapse. Their attempts to destroy you have become the very catalyst for their exposure and unraveling. As you move forward on this new level of your journey, it's essential to carry this hard-won wisdom with you. Not everyone who approaches you comes with pure intentions. Not every friendly gesture is as innocent as it seems, and not every invitation is extended out of love. But don't allow this understanding to harden your heart or close you off from genuine connections. Instead, let it sharpen your discernment, expand your wisdom, and empower you to walk in your purpose with even greater confidence. Remember, you have powerful enemies only because your purpose and your light are that powerful. The same qualities that attracted their attention, your growth, your transformation, your ability to shine in darkness, are the very things the world desperately needs more of right now. So, never shrink yourself or try to become less just to make others comfortable. Never dim your light out of fear that you might become a target again. Instead, embrace who you are becoming with open arms, walk boldly in your truth, and trust your discernment in every situation. Understand that every attack, every challenge, every attempt to break you down is undeniable proof that you are rising higher, stepping into a destiny that is bigger and brighter than anything they could have imagined for you. You survived because your survival was written into your story from the beginning. You're protected because your presence is needed in this world. You're targeted because your power is undeniable. You're chosen because you're resilient, unbreakable, and meant to shine. The chapter that began with their attempt to humiliate you is not your ending. It is the start of something extraordinary. The people who tried to destroy you have no idea what kind of strength, awareness, and purpose they have awakened in you. Welcome to the next level of your journey. This is just the beginning, and what comes next will be nothing short of incredible. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten Wisdom.